Midwest Ghost Hunters and Dark Matter podcast at Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri. John, before we forget, go ahead and do the thing that we always forget to do.
If you are listening on any of the podcast platforms, and I don't care which one you're listening on, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and like, comment, share. It helps us out dramatically. So whatever podcast platform you're using, if you wouldn't mind, please go ahead and make those comments, like, share. It helps us dramatically.
Yes, that would help a lot. Okay, so we've had some things happen that we wanted to mention on the podcast about some things that are coming up. You've heard us talk since we started this podcast about the investigation in Willard, Missouri. It's a big deal. You know, it's probably the first time so far that we've ever ran into a non-human type entity, if you will.
Say demonic.
Demonic. Some people say demonic. That's fine. Whatever you want to call it. It's our first run-in with one. And what happened is that was so long ago that we did that investigation or those investigations. I lost track of the contact information for the people, you know, who we were doing the investigation for. I lost their email because we switched email platforms. I lost their cell phone numbers because I've gone through 4 cell phones since then, and they just didn't transfer the contacts. Kind of thought that was just going to be a thing of the past. But in the past week, we have heard from the homeowner for the first time in, my God, how long has it been?
15 years?
Yeah, I'd say close to that. We heard from her that she is living in Springfield. We didn't even know where she was because at one point they moved to Joplin. That she is living in Springfield in a house with a new spouse and I think one of the granddaughters, maybe. I think that's what she said, or maybe one of her own kids. I don't remember. And they are having activity suddenly. Again, aggressive. And she asked if we would be willing to do a follow-up to that. And the answer to that is...
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
It's a definite yes, but also a little bit of a reluctant one.
Well, yeah, it is kind of round 2.
But I know, you know, Ty hasn't been there.
After the third investigation that we did that where all hell broke loose in Willard, on that one, what we did, then Ty had sent a message, oh, guys, we're going. And my response back to you was, that's great. He can go.
Yeah, he wanted to go back. So we are going to go back. This is going to be a revisit that I never thought would happen, honestly. I never thought, for whatever reason, and no reason in particular, I just didn't think we'd ever hear from them again. I assumed everything was going okay, I guess. I didn't really assume anything.
One of the things we'll need to talk with them about is, have they had the activity the whole time, or has the activity gone away for a period of time and now has returned?
Yeah, we're going to have to bring her in on the podcast to give us, I mean, even before we even get this investigation booked, we got to get some information.
Yeah,
you know,
we got to find out what's going on.
What's happening? Because it's been, like you said, 15 years since we've even talked to any of them. So we definitely need to know, you know, what has been happening in the past 15 years.
And you know what's really weird? That was one of our early big investigations we had done. That was one of the early ones.
It was...
Wasn't the first one.
No, we stumbled into it. Like I said, or like we've said before, in the beginning, in the infancy of our team, we were just taking anybody that contacted us, really. We were just go anywhere. And this was one of those places. We just... they contacted us and we went. They found us on the paranormalsocieties.com or .org. I don't remember what it was. I don't even think it's there anymore. But that was the directory a lot of people were directed to from Google whenever they would search for a paranormal team in their area. And that's where they found us, was on there, and we just took it and we went, and it turned out to be, you know, a pretty big deal. Now we've got better shit.
Yeah, a lot better audio stuff, a much better situation.
So yeah, it's going to be a little different ball game this time as far as, you know, if something happens, our ability to capture it. So that's something that we're definitely going to do. We've got several steps between now and then before the actual investigation happens. Like I said, we need to get her in here, and she's agreed to come on, and she can even kind of, you know, run down what happened before in the house that burned down.
Yeah, I would be really curious to see from the moment that we lose contact with them when they're from the Springfield house, what has happened since then.
Yeah, I completely forgot they had the other house in Springfield too, which had activity of all kinds in it too.
It did, and then they moved to Joplin, and the activity continued there, and so I don't know.
Yeah, we'll definitely get her in here for you know, a recap of what's been happening before we, you know, start dipping our toe into that pond again. which we're going to do for sure, 100%. We've got to figure out, what's happening there before we get in there. And speaking of revisits, that's a big one. The Willard one is a big one. But we also heard back from an investigation we did this spring. Erica in Sparta. Erica and Kat live in Sparta, and we did an investigation at their house in April, and they had a lot of activity there. And then apparently it's gotten much worse. Now, I did find, by the way, if you listen to our podcast, they're the ones who we were looking for an exorcist or a cleanser or whatever those people are.
Right.
I could not get anybody to reply back, and then I stumbled onto this website.
Now, Erica had said that she was also going to contact one directly. Did she ever follow up on that, or do you have any idea?
Nobody will contact anybody back. So, yeah, nobody ever heard. But I found this website that offers, and I didn't know how legit it was, but hell, it was something. I found this website, which I can find.
Is it demonremoval.com?
Pretty much. Oh, wait, here it is. I just found it. It's powerfulexorcist.com. So powerfulexorcist.com offers online consultations. And I thought, that's something. At least. So I sent that website to Erica a couple of weeks ago. I said, you might try this. I don't know what else to tell you because
I don't know if you can remove demons via Zoom, though. I don't know that you can
I don't
do
know
that.
that they necessarily do a removal via Zoom or if they just do the consultation online. I can't pretend to tell you anything about it. But they did get in touch with them, and she contacted back and said that the website was not what she thought it was going to be. And I don't exactly know what that means. But
is it like some sort of a scam that you just have pushed?
Like I in my mind, I imagine like it's a current day 900 number. I don't know that.
Like
I have
the
no
psychic
idea.
friends?
Yeah, I have no idea what it is. But anyway, it didn't help what they needed. So she asked if we would come back with her on site and do an investigation and her stay with us to see, for whatever reason, she wants to get the name of whatever it is. And like we've said on our podcast before, what something specifically says is never our primary concern. But she wants to try to find out a name. And she thought if she stayed during the investigation, that we might be able to get it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with her staying.
I think that's fine. It could be a situation kind of like when we did Ashley's house. The activity was a lot stronger with Ashley there than it was when she was not.
Yeah, and she sent pictures. She's got scratches all over herself.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah. Well, if you remember when we were there in April, her partner had deep scratches.
Yeah, serious problems
that they said were caused by, whatever is present there. Now she's got them all over. Remember, if you'll remember back, whatever was there, they said was never directly attacking Erica physically. It was all happening to Kat. But now she has scratches all over. She sent pictures of them. And she wants to do the investigation, us to come back. Because I told her, whenever she told me that the whatever that website wasn't helpful, I said, I would be more than happy to offer for us to come back, but I don't know that we're going to be able to give you the kind of help you're looking for.
Right.
And she said, well, actually, you may be able to, because if I stay, I think we can get more than if you guys just do it.
I think in this situation, I think that's right. A lot of the reason that we a lot of times do not have the homeowner there is because accidentally they can contaminate a scene. Not even meaning to do that. They can contaminate it. I think in this situation, because I think that part of what's driving that activity is her.
You're talking about Erica.
Yeah, Erica is. I think it's being driven at least partially by her, and so I think then that her presence could help us get more stuff.
Well, if you remember, Kat lived there by herself before, right?
Yeah.
And didn't have a damn thing happen. And now, that Erica's there, so they have all this stuff happening. So I think maybe if we were ever going to do an investigation where the homeowner stayed behind and wanted to be present, I think this would be a good one to do. So anyway, we're going to put that on the books too. We might even, we had Erica on the podcast last time before we did her investigation. Yeah. We could bring her back in too.
Yeah, we could. And we could even actually do the podcast from their house too.
Yeah, we could.
I mean, we could even do that because there's definitely some activity going on there. There's no question about that.
Well, we caught, plenty of EVPs while we were there. I can't remember if we got any. Oh, we did catch a video.
Yeah.
In the garage. Yeah. You and Ty did.
Ty did.
You caught a shadow figure in the garage. So, yeah, there's definitely something happening there. And she would like for us to come back and do an investigation with her there, which is fine. So we'll plan to put that on the books too. But we want to make sure that we step pretty easy with this Willard one. Not that we're not going to do it. We're doing it 100%. But we want to know what's on the other side. what's over there waiting for us before we.
And I would kind of like to know the missing pieces that have happened between the last time that we did an investigation for them, because even the last investigation we did, even though the primary Willard house was probably 15 years ago, we haven't had contact for these people in probably, what do you think?
The last time that I talked to any of them was after we did their presentation, their evidence presentation. Me and Dustin did it at the big library over there, the big library station. We brought them in and we showed them what we caught at their Springfield house, and that's the last time I ever talked to them.
Yeah, so there's a lot of missing time window.
Actually,
here.
that's not true. I did talk to her one more time a year or so later. She said they moved to Joplin. She didn't really give me a big update on their activity, but she just kind of said that she's no longer with that guy that was there.
Right.
That she was living in Joplin. Well, apparently now she's moved back and she's having activity again. So anyway, we're going to definitely get down there because this is going to be that's going to be a pretty big deal. I don't know if we're going to be starting from zero, like we did at the Willard house. We started with nothing and it kind of built up. I don't know if we have to start from zero again, with this one or
yeah, that there's a possibility we could go out there and find nothing, and that happened on the first house.
Yeah, there wasn't much the first couple of trips out there, that's for sure. That's going to be one of the biggest updates we've ever done, if not the biggest.
Yeah. Well, there's no bigger story that we've ever had that we've ever dealt with than that one. I've thought about this for a long time. We've never had one that intense, but I kind of wonder if we would view that as big a deal. Yeah, I think we still would. I think we would. But the advantage I think that we would have now over then is we're going to get the audio. It's one thing for me to sit here and say that there's this deep voice saying, where are you guys going, as we're running out of the building and there's circus music playing and everything. It would be a completely different thing if I could show you that audio.
Yeah, we can't show you some of the scariest stuff that happened there because we just
didn't have the equipment.
We didn't have the equipment, and we were making a quick getaway at a high rate of speed. So hopefully we'll be able to keep our, if that kind of I have over the years been curious if that, and this may have been what you were saying, if that happened again now, would the exit be as swift or would we hang back a little? I think we'd probably hang back a little.
And I think we would probably want to investigate a little bit more.
That's what I mean.
Verify a little bit more. That's where I'm saying this kind of the same thing I was talking about was the intensity of that so great for us because we never run into anything before? Because remember the students we were talking with, they said, do you get scared? Do you ever get scared about something like that?
Yeah.
And at that point in time, oh my God, yeah, we just saw some weird stuff that happened.
So the students John's talking about are Sinai and Kinsey. So they've been hanging out with this. Sinai is sitting to my left. So you're Sinai from Glendale High School here in Springfield. What class are you guys with?
This is our Broadcast 2 class, Broadcast Journalism, the Glendale 411.
What are you doing? Are you just doing like a news story?
No, actually. So we were doing a news story, but now we're doing a mini documentary. So it'll be about 3 minutes on this podcast because of the ever so lovely Elizabeth. She told us about it and we were like, oh, this would be so fun.
But while you guys were here, we were given permission, which doesn't happen very much, permission to take you guys into the dungeons and into the tunnel. What did you think of that?
It was so scary, but maybe because I'm just a chicken, I was not having fun down there. It was cold, kind of musty odor.
If we would have hung out down there a little longer, it would have probably woke up a little more because we've been down there before, and there's definitely activity down there. So I was kind of glad you guys got to go down there and take a look around down there. So what you're doing now today is a documentary of our podcast at Pythian Castle for a class, for a grade, right?
Yes.
Is this going to be? And once your story is done, will we have access to it?
Yeah, we can always send it to you.
We'll post it to our website and get that up there. So what we were getting ready to do here, since you're sitting, and if you can feel free to sit, you don't have to talk, but you can sit and put on the headphones if you want. It's up to you.
Do it, Kinsey, now.
You don't have to do anything. We're not forcing. This is a very loose podcast, and typically, if you listen to this podcast before, you know our language can get a bit salty.
I did notice that.
So we've been trying to hang back on that shit a little.
Do you guys believe in ghosts?
I do, fully.
Okay.
So you're a believer. Kinsey, where do you fall on it?
I don't
don't know. I feel like it just kind of depends on what actually happens and how the specific evidence is found.
Yes, and that's a good point to make. On our angle, a big part of it is even more than what specific evidence is found. For us, since this is kind of our orbit, it's more who found it. There's some teams out there that will put videos up, hours-long videos, where literally nothing happens. I mean, it's an entertaining video, but there's really no paranormal evidence there or not. There's even popular, famous paranormal investigators, and I don't know where you guys fall on stuff like Ghost Adventures. You may have never seen it or heard of it. Zach Baggins is pretty well known for overblowing stuff. So, and that's not uncommon with paranormal investigations and investigators. We try really hard not to do that.
One of the things that we didn't really talk about in the interview that we did with you guys, if people want to find a ghost in their house, they always will. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we always like to do, where we're different than other groups, is we go in and we'll try to prove that it's not a ghost. What are the other things that this could be? One of the biggest things that you're going to discover in haunted houses, quote unquote haunted houses, is that they have wiring issues. We had a situation where this lady had said that every night when she rocked her baby, that she would look up and she would see a little girl appear in the doorway, and the little girl was there. Well, we went in and we used these EMF detectors. We found that she had a serious EMF problem with the fan that was blowing on her, and what that does, those electronic frequencies will interfere with your brain waves, and it will make you see things that aren't there. Now, some people in the paranormal world say, well, the leaking of the electricity gives the spirits the energy they need to materialize. That's one theory. Other theories are it makes you see things and you hallucinate. Either way, we helped her out. They got rid of that fan and the little girl disappeared. That's something in paranormal activity and hunting and everything, because most people that go out, they want to catch a ghost. But that's where we always tell people, if you want to catch a ghost, you probably will.
That's a good point to make, is that's something we really didn't talk about with you guys. You're doing a news story, so you want the meat of it. We get that. But a big part of what we do is debunking. We go out and try to find alternate explanations of why you saw a shadow, why you're hearing knocking, whatever. When we exhaust, trying to find those explanations is really when the investigation part begins.
And that's really the part that most people are interested in. Most people that are listening here, they don't want to find that we went to this house and that the scratching that you're hearing behind the walls was a bunch of raccoons.
Yeah, a squirrel or raccoon.
Yeah, people don't want that. But that's where part of what we've got to do is to figure out what is it, and can we fill it in with other things, and that's what we do.
So is part of your class actually doing a podcast?
No, but so this is the first year that we have our Glendale High School podcast, Falcon Unfiltered. We have one episode.
I love that name.
It is.
Is
Love
it truly
Maddie.
Unfiltered like ours?
No, she just. She edited that.
The definition of unfiltered depends on the person.
It depends
Right.
on it definitely depends on the audience too.
Well, not much can be unfiltered in a public school.
True.
So Maddie has done that. It's pretty good. The first episode was like 30 minutes of her just talking, and the teacher was like, absolutely not.
So what is Falcons Unfiltered? What is that? I mean, I know it's a podcast, but like what would be?
Does she talk about
what would
like
be on there?
the sports programs or just things around school or what?
Yeah, so everything has like a bird pun attached to it. And I came up with most of them, not to toot my own horn. They're pretty good. There's like Falcon Review, Flying Over the Noise. So like she'll have a sports segment and have like the star athlete, or like someone who just got injured, and they'll talk about what happened. Last episode, she had Mrs. Thomas, which is our theater director, and she talked about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Oh.
You could always say that you're getting your claws into something.
Ooh, I haven't thought about that one yet.
Is your podcast that Emily's dating Chad, or is it more actual things that are happening around the school with like your principal and sporting events? And it sounds like it's the latter. Now, did you guys either one listen to this podcast before you decided to do this particular documentary or news story?
Peace and love, I didn't know this podcast existed. But
It's okay.
Once I did, I started listening. And I'm actually a pretty big fan.
Oh,
I
nice.
like it.
Nice. Well, like I said, we're trying to sweeten up the salt a little bit on the language.
Yeah, this is like the first time that Chris hasn't like dropped all kinds of explicitives as we're opening the podcast.
It's okay. Our teacher, our broadcast teacher,
Oh, is she in the fray on the vulgarity?
Oh, she's rough.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, we are glad you guys came, and we're going to listen to some EVPs here if you want to keep your headphones on. What we do is we do our podcast here, as you know, we're doing it now, and then and when John goes back and edits that podcast later, he finds voices in there that were not there when we were doing the podcast. Things, you know, throughout that come onto these microphones that we didn't hear at the time.
Right.
Sometimes we do hear them. Some of them are subtle, and but we've also had some over the years that are quite upfront and loud. Now, keep in mind, anytime we play, and I'm talking to you guys, our listeners already know this. Anytime we play EVPs, we are not saying, listen to this ghost. We never do that. What we're saying is, listen to this thing that we cannot explain what is. It takes a whole lot for us to come out and, like John always says, stamp it haunted. During your interview session earlier, like we were talking about, that Willard Home was one of them. And we're just going to roll a couple of these for you, John, if you want to go ahead, and we'll get the first one going here.
Amount of legitimate paranormal activity.
Okay, you see what we're saying there? That's real subtle. It was a quick grab. We're going to go ahead and roll it again, and just so you can hear it.
Amount of legitimate paranormal activity.
You can hear there's a slight whisper behind there. You guys may not be able to hear it. We've been listening to these kind of things for a long time, especially John. John's our EVP guy, and he's kind of got his ears in tune. I'm like you guys. Sometimes it takes me 10 listens before I hear something. What John is able to do is he's able to isolate each microphone, and he's able to see which microphone a specific voice or vocal came from. Sometimes you'll hear like me talking on this microphone, and all of a sudden someone's talking on that microphone when no one was talking. That's what he's able to do. He's able to go through and isolate those microphones. And I don't know if that came off the master.
That's the master mix.
Okay.
That's there. I did not isolate that one because I didn't need to isolate it because I know it's none of us.
Yeah. So that one was very subtle, but it is back there. I got a couple more, John, here. Let me go ahead and roll another one that we've ever videoed. You know, did you hear that? Yeah, I heard that. Was I just talking to myself on there, or was that?
No, you looked at me and you said, "Did you hear that?" Yeah, I heard that, and then.
Oh, okay. Let's go ahead. This one may need to. If you got any gain,
Yeah, we can.
Actually, I may have a little bit of gain here too. That we've ever videoed. You know, Did you hear that? Yeah, I heard that. Very subtle.
And real ghost audio does not sound like it does in the movies in general. Now, we've had some that has sounded like it sounds in the movies, and we've actually even talked about that here before because we've said that was so good it was fake. What you're hearing here is the way that most paranormal activity really sounds, and that is this whispery kind of thing. But you really can't tell what it's saying.
Yeah, that is unfortunately
that's
that is the way
case.
a lot of it happens. While they're here though, we could pull up one of those.
Yeah, you could pull up one of the real.
If you've
good
got
ones.
one in mind.
We did a paranormal investigation one time. We were in Bolivar, and just so you don't think that Willard's the only haunted place that there is, we were in Bolivar, and there were some little kids, again, that were seeing ghosts and stuff like that. And Chris comes in and he says, "Why do you keep scaring these little kids that are here?" And this creepy voice comes on and says, "They scare us."
That is one of my all-time favorites.
Also, the ones that say "Go home" are pretty good.
I'm reordering it now in my head. The "They Scare Us" actually happened at the Buddhist house.
It did?
This one is the one you're thinking of, and I often confuse these myself. This one is, let me just play it, and then we'll point it out to you guys. Just so, since you're here and you got the headphones on, we'll just roll a couple of these just so you
They're
guys
just
can hear.
lights, and they won't hurt you.
It's coming up here in a minute. Just hang on a second.
Jamie lives here and is scared to come home. Have you been scaring her?
That's the "Why won't you leave?"
Did you hear it back there?
I did.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna-
Why won't you leave?
I'm going to go to that spot again because I love that one. Let me just
That's good.
go ahead here.
Have you been scaring her?
So that is one of them, and I believe, if I'm thinking correctly, John, and I could be wrong, I believe that the one you're talking about actually happened at that house in Springfield we did, where they had the room with the Buddhist stuff. Yeah, here it is, right here. Now listen to this one, and I think it's pretty obvious, but we'll roll it here and let you guys hear it anyway.
You just want to know why you're here, how long you've been here, why you're scaring kids.
Right there.
I didn't like that. That one was spooky.
Yeah, that was a good one.
They're so moody.
And I know they tend to be. And for whatever reason, most of the time we do not hear these, while we're there. We only hear them, or John will, text us and say, hey, you're not going to believe what I just found on this recording that we didn't hear. So yeah, a lot of times we don't even hear these at all with our naked ears. We have to wait until we go back and review some of the audio.
Growling from Ashley's house, those were always bad. There's so many. It just really depends on what kind of ghost you want. It really does.
We've got nice ones. We've got
variety.
The ones I always find. Yes, obviously the growling is scary, but the ones that I'm always really troubled by are the children. When we get children ones, because we're not here, so those are always when you get children. We had a place in Mount Vernon where there was a hospital years and years and years ago. We're talking like 1920s or so that treated children with tuberculosis. Well, during that time period, there's not a lot of stuff you can do for it. So a lot of these kids died, and you get the sound of children coughing, and there's nobody in the room but us. The children ones are always really creepy to me.
Yeah, I've got a child one here from a place we did. I believe this was also in Bolivar, not the same place that we did in Bolivar, but this house was full of kids responding to us, and here's one of them.
So if you step up to this recorder and tell us your name.
We don't know if it said Emma or we have no idea what it said there, but we definitely got some kind of response there. And the one I'm looking for now is my all-time favorite, and here it is right here. I want you to listen to this. This is the craziest thing that we've caught. One of the craziest. We've caught a bunch, but I want you to listen to one more here, and it's this one right here.
Out of the corner of my eye, I swear I keep seeing something right over there.
We didn't hear that. We thought we'd seen some shadow movement. Keep in mind, this was at nighttime. It was in a house. And that sounds to me like a little kid trying to scare somebody, is what it sounds like to me. Let me go back to that spot.
Out of the corner of my eye, I swear I keep seeing something right over there.
We didn't hear it. But it was there. It was only me and Tyler and Dustin that were there on site at that time. John hadn't even decided to come on board yet, but there were no kids there. This was late at night, and it was just us. And that's the kind of stuff that's what we call a Class A EVP. It's very obvious. Sometimes if it's me and Tyler and John and Dustin, and we hear a male's voice in the background, well, there's 4 dudes there. Could it have been, someone talking to themselves or, reading their text on their phone out loud accidentally or something? Possibly. That's not a Class A, because that could have been, possibly. It was unlikely it was one of us, but it could have been. A Class A EVP is when you get something like that. There was absolutely none of us. None of us can sound like a little kid doing that anyway. But that's just a little example of some of the stuff that we tend to get. And you'll want to stay tuned, because when we go back to that Willard place, I can't even tell you what the hell we might get there. Anything else you guys wanted to talk about since you're here and you're
any questions?
On the podcast, or any questions or anything?
Anything you've ever wanted to know?
Oh, why are kids so susceptible to seeing and hearing things? Do we know?
I think a lot of it is probably the most accepted answer is that kids have not established filters yet. That's why there's a lot of television shows years ago that would say, kids say the darndest things or any number of things like that, because kids do not know. If a person is overweight, a child is going to tell them that. If a person has has greasy, weird-looking hair, the kid is going to tell them, why is your hair so greasy? Yeah. I mean, children do not have the filters that people learn later in life. And so because they have a more pure view of the world, that's one of the things that's talked about. They say that children and also pets can also see a lot more paranormal activity that as adults we do not see. Now, is that true? I don't know. That could be all made up, but I think there's something to that.
Kids also don't have the life experiences yet to be able to determine what's real and what isn't. I mean, whenever they see something that may be paranormal, they see something, they think it's just real. So as far as why they're more susceptible, I don't know. Kids are more susceptible, and like John said, pets are as well. But who's even more susceptible than just a typical kid is our special needs kids. They're even more able to for whatever reason, tune into that kind of thing. If it has something to do with, parts of the brain that aren't being used by, certain groups that are used by others, I have no idea why. But it is, what you said is true for whatever reason.
Children and adolescents also have an issue with it. We were at a house in Republic, and it was a teenage girl's room, and Chris and I were in the room, and her, I don't know what the hell it's even called, makeup carousel or something.
Tower.
She had something that carried all of her stuff in it, and Chris and I were there, and the entity threw the makeup carrier thing at Chris.
It did not throw it at me. I was standing right by you. It threw it at us. He always says he threw it at me, but I was standing right by him, and it was thrown in our direction. We were both about 15 feet away from it.
We were a ways away. So this is not a situation where people are like, well, it was something that just fell off the... No, it didn't just fall. This thing was heavy because these things are heavy that have got all kinds of stuff in there. I mean, this is like hairbrushes and hair care stuff and makeup. And we're talking about a pretty heavy thing here that just got picked up and chunked across the room at Chris. I mean, there's just no way about that.
First of all, if it had just fallen off the table, it would have just dropped and spilled everything. Second of all, we had pictures of the room before. We could see that it was way back on the table. It did not just fall off the table. It was thrown at us. Not me, us, because I was standing right by him. But that kind of physical movement of an item like that is not super common.
No. Somebody that wants to go out and do paranormal investigations, and you think that, this is going to be super, super cool, and you're listening to this podcast, what you're listening to on all of these podcasts are 20 some odd hours of audio that we've narrowed down to find 3 seconds of normal stuff on. So it's not, a lot of it doesn't jump out, and you also have to kind of know what you're listening for in these things too.
That's an important thing to point out. Whenever we go to an investigation, it's important to point out the most of the time, if you go to a paranormal investigation, you're in for several hours of being bored. It's very boring. And then you take into account that you're there for 6 hours and you've got 12 recorders scattered around. Well, now you've got 72 hours worth of audio that you've got to go through second by second, not only second by second, but backing it up as you go. So it takes a significant amount of time to go through the audio alone.
And it will happen at the time that you least expect it. A lot of times groups think they're going to get set up and get all ready to go, and that they're ready to catch it, and then that's what's going to happen. That's actually not the case.
If you do 6 hours of an investigation and you got 12 recorders, you've got 72 hours you got to pour over, and it takes a significant amount of time to go through those.
He's absolutely right that 72 hours worth of recording time is not 72 hours to listen to, because you've then got to back it up and listen. What was that? Okay, was there other things? And then I've got to make note that I need to listen at this exact same time on another recorder to try to substantiate what we're hearing. So there's a tremendous amount of stuff there.
We've kicked back and forth EVPs for months.
Yes.
Comparing this recorder to that recorder. Could it be this? Could it be that? Could it have been that person? Trying to get our timestamps lined up to make sure to try to debunk something as best we can. But yeah, when you're listening through that much audio, you will find yourself wanting to skip ahead.
Yeah.
It's when you skip ahead that you're going to miss it.
Yeah, you're going to miss it for sure. We did a location at a business downtown Springfield, and this place had fairly recently closed. Okay, so it's gone. We're waiting on them to come in. Dustin had meandered up to the front of I didn't even know what he was doing, but he was up at the front, and I'm in the kitchen area. I'm wearing a body camera at this point in time, and I'm talking about this body camera, how I'm going to catch everything, and this is the greatest thing ever. And so I'm standing in there, and I just turn my head, and I look, and I see this guy, short black hair, shorter guy too. He's shorter than Dustin. He comes walking in front of Dustin, and then Dustin's right after him, sitting there thinking, okay, well, that's a member of our group. And then I thought, okay, we have no one with the hair that's going to match up to what this guy looks like.
We shave our heads. It wasn't us.
And so I go back out, and I'm talking to Dustin. That's on a previous podcast too. But that happened at a moment we were not ready for it. And as far as the body camera goes, it would have been great had I actually but I turned my head and saw it, and the body camera is attached, of course, to my body, so it's still going forward. So the body camera catches nothing.
Yeah, so pretty much the lesson there is we've missed some great stuff.
Oh, fantastic. So some of the best paranormal evidence you'll ever find.
We didn't get
it.
But anyway, yeah, we'll that's something I had never thought about with the body camera. Is you got to turn your whole body before.
Yeah.
So that almost.
Well, you either do that or you get one of them. They do make them. They're like headbands you can mount to your.
Yeah,
your
snap
head.
them on the bill of your hat too. I've seen those too. Okay, well, we do appreciate you guys doing the story on us, our podcast. Anything else you wanted to say before we end up wrapping this episode up? Any other questions? Anything you've seen today or you have questions about?
I don't think so. Thank you for letting us in. It was really
Of course.
fun.
Well, on
I'm enjoying
behalf of
myself.
everyone here, we hope that the documentary that you guys are doing on us takes flight.
There you go.
Ooh,
Another
good
Falcon
one.
reference.
Yeah.
Have you been sitting there the whole time trying to come up with?
No, it's just coming
think
to
so.
me just like this.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, well, thank you, Sinai and Kinsey. We're looking forward to seeing your story once it's completed, and we will post it on our website so everybody else can see it too. Because you guys got some limited. I mean, you got to see some stuff. Not a lot of people get to see unless they pay for a tour. You got to go in the dungeon and the tunnel. So that was pretty cool. I'm glad you guys got to go down there. So thank you so much for coming by and for the story too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And we'll have more Dark Matter next week from Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri with Midwest Ghost Hunters.